He's Tony Dungy from Football Night in America, up for the Hall of Fame this week. Let me start with that. Have we gotten too good at kicking field goals, therefore now we want to do something to make it a little bit tougher?
I think that is the case, but that happens. I remember when I was playing for the Steelers, and they said, hey, you guys got too good at bump and run coverage. You can do that. We're going to restrict it now. Only one bump. It has to be here. We got to make the game more challenging. So I think that happens. These guys are kicking 96, 97%. I think it's probably a good idea.
All right, we were talking before we came on the air here that, and we were talking during the opening. If you had Paul Tagliabue, the previous commissioner, he would have probably said, and Mike Florio pointed this out on Pro Football Talk, he would have said to the Patriots, hey, knock it off. We're hearing that you're doing something with the footballs. Stop it. Whereas it feels like this commissioner and his team were waiting to almost say, we got you. Now explain yourself here.
Yeah, I don't know all what went into it, but my guess is this isn't something that just happened on AFC Championship game day. They didn't just catch a football and say, hey, look at this ball, something's going on. So, you know, the tragedy is it's taking away from a great matchup and a great game. We should be talking about these two teams, last team to repeat, a team trying to do it, great players. Nobody's talking about that.
Can you have Brady talk about this? Can the commissioner say, I want to talk to you this way? Is it being unfair to Brady?
To me, that would be. I would be very upset as a coach if the investigation dragged into this week. It should have been done last week. Get it over with. Let's do what we're going to do. I want to be out here preparing my team to win a Super Bowl.
Do you care if you're the opposing coach of what the Patriots were accused of?
Yes. Yeah, you absolutely do. Because you want to be on a level playing field. Okay? If we can operate with these kinds of balls, I want to be able to operate with those kind of balls too. So you absolutely do care, but it should have been taken care of before this.
Do you believe that Belichick had no idea?
I don't know what happened. It's kind of, you know, it couldn't have just been an accident. We do know that. So what happened, I guess we'll have to wait and find out.
Okay, but do you have any idea what the footballs were inflated with when Peyton was your quarterback?
Oh, absolutely. You know the
you knew
protocol.
The feel of it. You knew everything.
Oh no, I don't feel it, but I know the protocol. I know what happens and how they're inflated and who examines them and where they go after that. Yeah.
So if this happened with the Colts when you were there, you would know the person to go to.
There's a couple of guys that handle the balls, and you go to them and say, what happened? Yeah. And you find out.
But nobody would do this without talking to the quarterback, Coach, right? I can't imagine somebody going, hey, sorry, I deflated those.
I don't know about New England's situation. I do know this in Indianapolis with Peyton Manning.
If somebody had done that to Peyton Manning,
he would know exactly what's happening with those footballs, unless it's a sabotage. It's a disgruntled employee who goes off the handle. That's the only other way you could explain it.
This Super Bowl, and we were talking about how nobody's really talking about this yet, but you do have this defense against the Patriots offense and the game plan here. But I also I think it comes down to what the Patriots do defensively with Russell Wilson.
That, to me, Dan, is the other side of the coin. These teams played in 2012. It was Russell Wilson's rookie year, probably his coming out party. And you know Bill Belichick always says, we're going to take away what you do best. And so they went into that game and said, we're going to load the box. We're going to stop Marshawn Lynch. Lynch had about 40 yards rushing. So we're going to put it in Wilson's hands, the rookie quarterback, and make him win the game. He won the game. He threw 2 touchdown passes in the last 7 minutes, threw 3 altogether, threw for almost 300 yards. Well, now he's evolved. And I'm wondering what Belichick's take is going to be. Does he do the same thing? Or does he say, I got to keep Wilson contained? That may give Lynch some yards. We got to play a little wider. My guess is he's still going to take away Lynch. He feels like he's got an improved secondary. They're going to play bump and run and make Wilson win the game. But Wilson scrambles around. He lets guys get open. They get big plays when he moves around. I know Rodney Harrison was up there, and all his guys talked about to Rodney was, we've got to rush smart. We've got to keep him contained. It's not necessarily sacks. We can't let him move around. So it's going to be a chess match.
Well, Green Bay, though, I thought had a good game plan there. And you know, Russell Wilson played horribly until the game was on the line. But they kind of, you know, forced him inside. You can't let him go right.
They used the safeties to stop the run. They got up there tight. They played bump and run on the outside. They felt like they could cover those guys, and they covered them tight. Julius Peppers was the left end, a real athletic guy. He kept him from going right. They kept him in the pocket for the most part. And for 56 minutes, they played him great and had him shut down and just let him explode in the last couple of minutes. So I know there's going to be a little bit of that game plan. We'll see how they can execute it.
He's Tony Dungy from Football Night in America, joining us here at our new saloon, our man cave saloon. Yeah, not bad. Well, would you get on a horse?
I don't know. After I saw you, I'm not sure. I know I wouldn't have gotten on the bull.
Oh, man.
I wouldn't have gotten on the bull.
Well, Fritzy's not going to get back on that.
That was a one-shot deal.
If I said you could have one defensive player on Seattle. For this game.
For this game.
The most important defensive player this game for Seattle is?
It's going to surprise you. It might be Michael Bennett.
So putting pressure on Brady?
Inside. Now, if you go back to the last 2 Super Bowls, who was the dominant player against New England? Justin Tuck. Rushing inside, getting pressure on Brady up inside. You can take any of the defensive backs. Brady's got so many weapons. They can go other places. Bobby Wagner's a great run defender. I don't think they're going to try to beat them running the ball. I think it's going. The last game, he dropped back 61 times against Seattle. Quick, efficient passes. Find that open spot. I think Bennett could be a factor rushing inside, getting pressure.
See, I think it's going to be Cam Chancellor. Because I think
you can't stop Gronk with one guy.
You don't think Chancellor?
They're going to take Chancellor out of the game by moving Gronk around. They're not going to let him in the box just exploding people. Gronk's going to be outside. He's going to be in motion. He's going to be in different places, get Chancellor out in space. And the balls are going to be coming fast. It's not going to be, hey, I'm going to throw these balls 50 yards downfield. It's efficient. If you're patient and you're accurate against Seattle, you can move the ball because they play on the theory that you can't complete 10 passes in a row. You can't hit the open guy and be patient. Eventually, you're going to try to go up top, and that's where Sherman and Earl Thomas come in. Earl Thomas is going to be critical, too. He's going to have to make plays. And that shoulder, it could hold up the whole game, or he could be like Gronkowski in our last Super Bowl, where you're waiting for him to make plays, and it's just not there.
Wasn't that weird when we were at the Super Bowl and we carried it on NBC, and we didn't know what was going on with Gronkowski?
And I remember telling you he hasn't taken the shot yet. They're waiting to
you mean an injection?
In the pregame, because he was, but he had taken the shot, and that was as good as he was going to be. And if I'd have known, he just wasn't a factor. Earl Thomas, I was with them. He didn't practice in the first part of the week, but he is, ready to go. But it's the kind of,
you went to Seattle?
I stayed in. Yeah, I went to Seattle for the game. Amazing. I'm there with Joe Jeshu and all our guys, and we're planning on interviewing and doing all our features in Seattle. With 4 minutes left, we're in the press box getting the flight plan going to Green Bay. And then all of a sudden we hear the crowd start rumbling, and what's going on? They've got a chance to win this game. It was unbelievable.
And we were just talking. Tony's up for the Hall of Fame this year, and I hate the process here. I hate the process that, no, okay, explain how this goes down on Saturday. We're going to do a full dress rehearsal for the Super Bowl. So it's, 7 hours dress rehearsal on the air, getting ready for Sunday. Right after that, then what happens to you?
Then the Hall of Fame picks you up and takes you to the Renaissance Hotel. They have a hotel room for all 15 of the people, and you basically sit in the room. And they're voting on the final class. And at some point around 4:30 in the afternoon, you'll get a call or they'll knock on your door and say you made it or you were eliminated. If you make it, then you go and you sit at the honors night in a certain section. They announce you at the end. If you don't make it, you're sitting in the audience. And
oh, my God.
Yeah.
Coach, it's terrible.
It's a tough process. And you do have to put it out of your mind. But it's difficult.
Because last year, you went in as one of the finalists, and then you don't. It's like the show The Bachelor. You didn't get a rose, so
right.
Now you got to go home.
And then I was sitting in the honors, and I'm looking. Will Shields is next to me. I said, "You didn't make it? How did you not make it? And it's crazy." Yeah.
But if they televised it, how would the candidates feel about that? Because then at least there's no reason to have drama there. It's not fair to you guys. But if they're going to capitalize on it and show it on TV, then okay, I understand
that's the real drama, yeah.
Yes.
And guys, Andre Reed, at the moment you get the call and say you're in, I mean, that's fantastic. It is. Now, it is, for me, you're disappointed, but my real joy, I wanted to see, I was disappointed Marvin Harrison didn't go in. I'm like, how can that happen? But to see Derek Brooks go in, guys that played for you, is fantastic. So this year, if Marvin goes in, John Lynch goes in, it'll be awesome feeling for me. But it is too emotional. It wouldn't be good TV, I don't think.
Because there's nothing you can do now.
No.
Do guys campaign?
I don't know, and I don't know what you do. I mean, they talked to me last year, the guy who presents for you, what would you like me to say about you? And you go into all that. This is what we did. This is what. So what do you do now? Again, do you have the same conversation? Do you think of more things? It's a little bit of a tough process.
But also with, I'm thinking maybe you just dress in your Colts, outfit, your coaching outfit. Have your headset on and walk in there just to remind people of what you did.
I don't know.
Wear your Super Bowl ring. But why doesn't Peyton go in there and let Peyton sell you as would Peyton do that?
I guess they don't allow people to do. They have one person who presents.
So it's a writer?
It's a writer from your home. So, and because Marvin is also up and John, it's different guys. And so I don't actually know who's presenting for me this year.
Oh, boy.
Whether it's the Indianapolis people or the Tampa people. Yeah.
All right. So prior to winning a Super Bowl, you had your pregame speech. Did you plan that speech?
I did. I thought about what I wanted to say. We did it Saturday night. We'd always have our last team meeting Saturday night, and you talk about what's important, what you want the guys to remember, and what's going to happen.
Okay, can you recreate that over here if you stand up in front of the Danettes?
I probably could.
Okay, here we go. All right, just give me a part of it. And you're not a fire and brimstone guy, so you didn't throw anything or yell or scream, right?
I'm here, and it's the guys, you know what we've been through. We got a great opportunity tomorrow. And we're on stage. 100 million people are going to be watching. If we win this game, you're going to be thought of as heroes. You're going to be world champions. If we lose, I promise you, you'll be thought of worse than a team that didn't even make the playoffs. That's the way it is, but we can't think that way. We've got to think about going out and doing our job, executing, and being together. And one thing I can promise you, it won't all be smooth. Our season's been up and down. We played great at times. We played poorly. We're going to have a storm tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to come, but the outcome of the game will be determined on whether we stay together during the storm or whether we fall apart. And the last thing I'll tell you, don't let this game define you, okay? This game is important. It's great. It's for a championship. But more important is how we do things, who we are as men. If we keep that in mind, be true to ourselves, we're going to be in great shape. So we want to go out there tomorrow, play the best we can play. We're playing for our families. We're playing for the city of Indianapolis. We're playing for our whole organization. But more importantly, we're playing for the NFL, and we want to do things right. We want to be the champions because we know how to represent the league.
Ready, let's go!
And that was it. Now, the real key part of it, the crucial part, we had decided all week that we were not going to kick the ball to Devin Hester.
Well, that night after the meeting, I thought, that's really playing scared. We're not going to do that.
Oh, no.
And so the next morning, I told the team, or when we were going to the game, I said, I hope we lose the toss, because if we do, we're going to kick it right down the middle to Hester, and we're going to pound him. And when they know we've taken their best threat, they're going to be finished.
And then?
13 seconds later, he was in the end zone. And everybody's looking at me saying, who's that? And I went back and I said, I told you we'd have a storm. And it's how we hang together.
Well, I'll see you during the week. Obviously, good luck on Saturday, pulling for you. And thanks for being a great sport coming out. We appreciate it,
Always
Tom.
fun being here.